All right, last week in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode was called The Gang Turns... Is it Turns Black or Goes Black?
I think it's Turns Black.
Yeah, The Gang Turns Black. And it's a musical.
It is a musical.
And,
it's a magical musical. Scott Bakula is in the episode.
As Scott Bakula, but in a world where you can possibly really quantum leap. What are the rules? We don't know.
What are the rules?
And, you know, when I saw the title of the episode and it said The Gang Goes Black and They Turn Black, I'm like, oh, shit. We're planning on talking about this on YouTube. How are we going to talk about this without coming off as like privileged white racists? Because we might end up saying something.
I honestly feel like as much as the horrible characters of It's Always Sunny can, they toe the line pretty well.
They really did, and I think they brought to light some of the issues, right? And at first, they showed them getting pulled over by the police or getting caught by the police, and all that, and they're kind of like, we're not so different. But then, of course, at the end, Charlie gets shot by a police officer because he thinks that his toy train is a gun. And it was like, oh, yeah, that's the lesson.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely the lesson.
But the cool thing about this episode was it was a musical, but it was also very meta. Like they knew they were in a musical, and they're singing about the fact that they're in a musical. And if you remember, I was talking about Spam-A-Lot. When I saw Spam-A-Lot, that one of my favorite songs was this self-referential, like, in every show there's a song like this.
Right.
In the episode. So I really appreciated that. But here's the deal, man. If we want to talk about Always Sunny in Philadelphia, we've got to talk about how they just are pretty much, with the season that came before it, are just kind of just like, we're just going to do whatever the fuck we want with these characters and put them in whatever situation they want. Because this last season was the most out there season of that show. And it just dropped on Netflix. And you and I both had said, I think we just kind of like forgot that there was a whole season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia that we hadn't seen.
Last year,
it's never been one of those shows that I've watched week to week.
Yeah.
It's always like a season comes out and I'll binge watch it, or I'll put it on while something else is on, like while I'm doing something else, because I like the show. I like having it on. But I didn't realize some of the episodes that I had missed out on. Because, dude, that 80s ski resort episode, did you see it?
I am on episode 10 of season 10, so I haven't even started season 11
Oh my God. Okay, so there's this episode where they go to a ski resort and it turns into like that stereotypical 80s movie where Frank is the villain, Dennis is his like son that's gonna compete in the big race against the protagonist who's this is like Charlie and Dennis and Charlie and Dee and Mac, but they have this friend who used to run like Party Mountain and everything, and they're trying to save the mountain, and Frank was going to buy it and everything. It was so ridiculous. And then there was an episode called Being Frank, which it was all from the perspective of Frank, like through his eyes, and it's just crazy. There was a courtroom episode, like a courtroom drama, and they'll do anything. And the last two episodes of that last season was a two-parter, and I tell you, man, the crazy thing about Always Sunny in Philadelphia and what sets it apart from most shows is that there's like no redeeming qualities about any of these characters. And
honestly, Charlie is the most...
And you would say, and everybody would say, well, there's Charlie, but I mean, come on. Charlie's a terrible person.
He's still a terrible person because they all are.
They're just terrible, horrible people. And I even made the comment last night while we were watching it. I was like, every like reoccurring character in the show, their life is just terrible because
of the gang.
Of the gang. They're like Bill Ponderosa and Rickety Cricket.
God,
I mean, come
poor
on.
Rickety Cricket.
He was a priest. And then Dee just fucked him up. The waitress.
Oh,
like
fucking yeah. And that's one of the most horrific things about Charlie is how stalkery he is towards the waitress.
It's terrible. They're just so bad, but like, why do we keep watching?
To see what kind of hijinks they get into,
guess so.
Man.
At least we're like, I may be a piece of shit, but I'm no Dennis. And they have just, oh my God, there's this scene in the last two episodes, I can't remember if it was the first half or the second half, where they're on a cruise ship And so Dennis brings up, the fact that he's trying to hook up with chicks because of the implication. And there's this scene where he talks to this girl, and like there's a storm happening, and all the lightning and stuff's going out as he say it, and I was like, he just makes my skin crawl just watching this back and forth between him and this girl, and you can tell she's just terrified that he's gonna rape her. And it's just like, oh my god, they're just such horrible, despicable
horrible people. Yes.
Despicable, horrible people. But I can't stop watching it. It's such a good show. Now, I wonder, like, okay, so the show's been on, what, 10, 11, 12 years now?
Well,
something like that?
Yeah, because season 11 just got put up on Netflix, and they just started season 12.
Right.
So season 12, episode 1 is what we're talking about.
So after the season or the series ends, okay, when it's over and done and they've moved on, with the exception of Charlie, I haven't seen the other three in a lot of things.
Well, yeah, and Caitlin Olsen has just started a new show on Fox.
Really?
Yeah, because I saw a commercial for it.
That's D, right?
Yeah, during, like, while I was watching my DVR episode 1 of season 12, I saw a commercial for her new show.
But, like, what about Dennis? Because I couldn't imagine watching him.
Yeah, I never see Glenn Howerton in anything else.
And here's the thing, like, if I saw him in something else, I would have a hard time separating whatever
him
character he was playing from Dennis. Because Dennis is the worst, I think, out of all of them.
Honestly.
Well, I don't know. Frank is pretty bad.
Frank is pretty bad. Mac is, like, super bigoted and religious.
Yeah, but also, like...
And also ultra gay.
But he's also, like, oblivious, not to the level of Charlie.
Yeah.
But he's still got a good, healthy portion of just being ignorant.
Yeah.
In him. But Dee is just terrible.
Yeah.
She's just a terrible, terrible person.
She's always trying to do characters and start her.
Oh, and she even has her own version of, like, the implication where she's like, because, like, if you're trying to hook up with a guy and he won't sleep with you, you just, just hint around that maybe I got a little too drunk and I'm going to go tell the authorities that you took advantage of me. Like, basically threatening to file a false rape claim against somebody, which, I mean, they're just terrible people.
Yes.
Just horrible, terrible people. God love them.
They're horrible, terrible people. I hate them, but I love them.
Right. And I'm just glad that show is the success that it is. Could you imagine if it just ran for like one season and we never got any more?
Well, if they hadn't added Danny DeVito in the second season, it might have just been one season.
It's possible. But I like how they just kind of can do whatever now. Mm-hmm. And they're going to. Yeah. It's pretty clear, especially from the first episode.
They're just doing whatever the fuck they want to.
Yeah. So do you think this is like, we're going to look back at this and be like this last couple of seasons were the jump the shark moment for Always Sunny? Do you think it's on a decline, or do you think it's getting better?
Okay, so I have been... because I apparently watched the first episode of season 10 at some point in the last 2 years.
Okay.
But I was like, I don't really recognize any of the rest of these. So I started watching season 10 over from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I realized, I had watched the first episode because it was the Beat Boggs, the gang beats Boggs, where they're on the plane and they're trying to beat his drinking beers record.
Yes.
So like I moved on to the next episode. And like I was like, I didn't see any of the rest of this season. So I've been powering through season 10 for the last day or so. And I'm at the very end of season 10. But like, it's still the same show.
Yeah.
Because the show itself it's just these characters existing in this world in perpetuity. Uh-huh. So like characters they've interacted with in the past keep coming back.
Right.
There was the episode where Bill Ponderosa is trying to drink himself to death in their bar. Mm-hmm. And it's
he's involved in the courtroom drama, and then it's I can't remember their last name. It's William from
the McPoyle brothers.
Yeah, the McPoyles. Well, he's who they're like defending against or whatever on the trial, but he's like, well, he can't be here, he's sick, but he was actually filming Westworld while he is doing that. But hopefully he'll return to the show.
Yeah,
and I would imagine he would. It's such a. I mean, it's even. I would say it's past a cult hit. I mean, it's not like huge, but I mean, come on, it's very popular.
I mean, yeah, no, like in the weeks leading up to this new episode premiere, like there was a resurgence. Like people just suddenly remembered, oh shit, Sunny is a thing.
Yeah, and their marketing is pretty brilliant as well.
They do great.
And I don't know, I can't say enough good things about that show, but I can't say enough terrible things about
the characters themselves.
Right.
Yes, that is perfect. I will say Charlie Day is one of my favorite fucking people, like in Hollywood, because he's so fucking talented and he's so funny.
I've seen a few movies that he's been in and was kind of surprised at some of the roles that he's had. Like seeing him in Pacific Rim was a surprise. I wasn't even prepared for that when I went and saw the movie. But honestly, my favorite character is Mac. he's my favorite character. He's always doing like the Project Badass thing, and he's so just the religious and the definitely he's like having sex with a transsexual and actually has a relationship with her at some point. And the whole part about him being gay, and he basically, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for you in that season that you watched, but yeah. It's great.
I'm looking forward to diving back into the series when I get home after we finish recording.